Have you ever stopped to think about how just one new material can completely change the world? Seriously, think about it. Steel literally built the Industrial Revolution. And lithium-ion batteries? They're the reason we have smartphones and electric cars. And we're not just talking about small improvements here. These breakthroughs are huge, foundational shifts that totally redefine what's possible. They're kind of the hidden engine of human progress. But here's the wild part. For pretty much all of history, our way of finding these world-changing materials has been, well, a lot of trial and error, or sometimes just pure dumb luck. All right, so let's get into it. It turns out a surprising number of our most important materials were discovered completely by accident. We didn't design them. We basically just stumbled upon them. The history is full of these happy accidents. Back in 1938, a scientist left a gas cylinder overnight and it solidified into this weird, super slippery stuff we now call Teflon. Those shape memory alloys, found when a guy at a meeting was just fiddling with a bent piece of metal, held a lighter to it, and it snapped right back into shape. See, this isn't a system, it's a lottery. So you have to ask, why have we been relying on luck for so long? Well, it's because the number of potential new materials isn't just big, it's astronomically, mind-bendingly huge. To try and wrap your head around this, just look at the math. If you take only 60 common elements from the periodic table and try to combine them in groups of 5, you get over 5.4 million unique combinations. And believe me, that's just scratching the surface. Because you see, just picking the elements, that's the easy part. The real magic and the real headache is how you arrange the atoms. That's what we call the crystal structure. Check this out. Take calcite and aragonite. Chemically, they are the exact same thing, calcium carbonate. But because their atoms are stacked together in a different pattern, one is soft and common, and the other is harder and more brittle. Same ingredients, totally different recipe, and a completely different material. This just multiplies that massive search space into something near infinite. So, what do you do when you're faced with an impossibly large haystack? Well, we've started moving from mixing things in a lab to simulating them on a computer first. And this, right here, is where AI enters the picture. For decades, the gold standard for this has been a method called density functional theory, or DFT. It's an amazing Nobel Prize-winning technique that can predict a material's properties just by simulating its electrons, all without ever making it. But here's the catch. It is painfully slow. It's a brute force approach that takes a ton of computing power. And someone came up with the perfect analogy for what's happening now. The old way, DFT, is like the chess computer Deep Blue. It won by just crunching through every possible move. The new way, with AI, is more like AlphaGo, which learned patterns to predict the best move, almost like intuition. So let's break that down. Instead of slowly calculating everything from square one, AI models are trained on these huge databases of known materials. They learn the fundamental rules of chemistry and can then predict a new material's properties almost instantly. It's a total game changer, shifting from slow calculation to rapid prediction. And the results are, well, they're staggering. Google DeepMind's AI, called GNOME, recently predicted 2.2 million new stable crystal structures. To give you some perspective, that's like doing hundreds of years of human discovery, all in a fraction of the time. Okay, so this all sounds incredible, right? Problem solved? Well, not so fast. While these AI predictions are a massive leap forward, they're not magic. There's still a huge gap between what a computer says is possible and what you can actually create in a real-world lab. This is the reality check. Remember DFT, that slow method used to create the training data? Well, it's not perfect. It has its own weaknesses. It struggles with really complex materials, high temperatures, and certain weird properties. And here's the kicker. Since the AI learns from that data, it inherits all the same blind spots. You can have the smartest model on the planet, but at the end of the day, you can't just outcompute the messy, complex, and often surprising physics of the real world. You still have to actually make the thing. And this is really what the future needs to look like. It's this tight, continuous loop. AI makes a prediction, robotic labs try to create it, automated tools test it, and this is the crucial part. Those real-world results get fed back into the AI to make it even smarter. It's a beautiful marriage of software and hardware. Okay, but let's say you nail the science. You've got this amazing feedback loop going. There's another mountain to climb, and it might be even steeper. We're talking about the economics of it all. This is a really tough business. The journey from a cool discovery in a lab to a product you can actually buy is just incredibly long and expensive. You're looking at 10 years or more to prove it works, figure out how to manufacture it at scale, and then convince entire industries to change the way they do things. And as you can probably guess, this is a nightmare for venture capitalists who are used to fast, software-style returns. It's a bit like discovering a new drug, but without the guaranteed massive patent payoffs. Plus, a lot of the time, the company that adopts the new material is the one that makes the most money, not the startup that discovered it. So, with all these challenges, from the mind-bending science to the brutal economics, what does the future of AI-driven materials discovery really look like? Well, there are probably two main paths forward. The first is that one of these startups actually wins the lottery. They find the next Teflon, they manage to commercialize it, and they change the world. Amazing. But the second, and maybe more likely outcome, is that many of these companies pivot. Instead of looking for that one magic bullet, they end up building and selling the tools, the AI platforms, and the robotic labs that help everyone else discover materials faster. And you know what? That in itself is a revolution. And that leaves us with a really fascinating final question. Is AI's ultimate purpose here to just hand us the answer? Or is it to build a much, much better shovel so that all of us can dig for treasure more effectively? The answer to that is going to shape innovation for decades to come.